and welcome to this episode of Pardon Your French podcast in partnership with Coppercock Distillery. We're here today missing our O. If you are unaware or not in France and don't watch the news or weather reports, we have had a huge storm over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Storm Nils, Nils, and it has wiped out 900,000 people's homes' electricity. And there's like severe flooding in most places. And we were questioning whether or not we'd actually do a podcast today. But I have no power at home. I haven't had power for a couple of days. So I couldn't do a Zoom chat. And I was like, oh, the roads must be clear by now. So I've driven out to Steph's so we could have an in-studio meetup and catch up.
Yeah, and actually the wind yesterday and the day before, even driving, was horrendous. And the rain yesterday was brutal. So I did say to you, like, if the weather's bad, like, do not venture this way. But to be fair, I walked out this morning and I did my little finger, lick my finger, and I was like, which way is the wind coming from this morning?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, actually, it seems to have calmed down, but you've got that eerie feeling of like the calm before the storm or the calm after the storm. And I'm like, oh God, please do not rain today. Just not today. I can't take any more
Anymore. Well, we went out yesterday to play music at Mark's house.
Yeah.
In Bordeaux, and Amy drove the van, which is like, solid sided. And it wasn't bad as we drove there. Little bit of rain, but sunshine when we got our equipment in. When we were leaving, there was hail, there was wind, there was rain, and she was like, I actually feel like I could get blown off the road here. Yeah, it was blowing strong. Driving up outside my house this morning, because I haven't gone up the road. We've only gone to Rebrac to basically go out for lunch and dinner. Driving on the top road where it's the most exposed, there are trees that are literally just snapped off halfway up. Like, the wind was over 100 kilometers an hour, which isn't that bad. Simon's like, oh, it's just a regular day at my mom's house.
But at 100 kilometers an hour, I found is actually a really important number for your house insurance.
Oh.
And so if the wind is under 100 kilometers an hour, most insurance companies will go, well, it wasn't that bad, we're not doing anything. So if you've lost tiles, or like we have, massive trees that have come down in the garden, if it's under 100 kilometers, they go, well, we're not dealing with it. So really important that you check your home insurance, and if there is a caveat to it.
And flooding, obviously, is generally included. Like, there's a lot of home insurance in the United States that flooding is a separate insurance.
Yeah.
Especially if you live in a flood zone. I think they do that in the UK now, too, just to cover their backs. But here, generally, flooding is considered a natural disaster, and it's covered. Same with hail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the hailstones were tiny yesterday. But driving through Tokan, it was, like, white over, like it had hailed enough and had stuck. Yeah, it just laying in bed at night, the thunder and lightning, and listening to it, and all the animals are scared, stuff like that. It was I kept thinking, like, I'm gonna get up in the morning and there's gonna be stuff scattered all over the field and things like that. But the wind direction was actually okay for us,
right?
So it wasn't too bad. And realistically, the wind direction was kind of okay for you because that tree came down in the right direction. If it went the other way, it'd gone onto that stuff on the fence and whatever's below his shed.
Yeah, there's like a little shed. So I had 3 humongous, they're fir trees, aren't they?
Yeah.
That have literally just fallen into the garden. But it's good. I mean, it looks crap because I love trees, and you think, oh, it's really sad. But actually, the hard work to get rid of them is, and I've got like the piddliest, tiniest trailer. And my dad will go, oh, I'll just take it all. I'll cut it all and take it to the déchetterie. And you're like, that's about 50, if not more, trailer load. Yes, it's better to just pay someone to come in and just get rid of it. But obviously, it's not the kind of wood that a lot of people would want to like
can't
dry out and burn.
No.
So it's one of those trees that you're like, oh, I've still got a massive stump that is by the swimming pool from last year when a humongous tree came down too. That took 2 weeks of full time work and labor to just cut off the branches, let alone the wood. And this stump is so big, we need a tractor to come in and yank it out. But where the weather's been so bad, you can't have a tractor.
Well, and it's got to be like dry enough that the tractor can go in, but wet enough that you can actually pull it out. Otherwise, you're damned it will do, and you're damned if you don't.
You're hoping March might be a better month. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we were talking about this. I mean, everybody's been talking about this. That basically, this is normally a January weather situation. So we usually get loads of rain in January, February a bit. But we were feeling like it was turning spring, and then all of a sudden it's just like bam, you're getting a massive storm coming through, and it is being considered an exceptional storm by like meteorologic standards for the time of year and stuff like that. But it is a big problem for the whole Southwest. So there are still a lot of people without power. I'm one of them, and we're allowed to
internet and all your food.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a nightmare last week because our chest freezer like gave up the ghost. It was old and we'd been talking about getting a new one, and then sure enough I went out one day and I was like, uh-oh. So I had already spent like the whole week salvaging the things that were defrosting, cooking them into stews and curries and things like that, putting them into storage containers, and then putting them in the Jeet. I'd like plug the Jeet refrigerator in and put them in the Jeet freezer. So now I have 12 hours until all that stuff is ruined as well. So so yeah, I mean, and I wasn't able to salvage all the stuff from the freezer in the first place. I didn't have the time or the inclination. Some of it was already like the stuff on the top of the freezer was already, too far defrosted. So I literally threw away a massive bag of like rotting meat yesterday. And I'm just kind of anticipating, like, everything in the refrigerator is ruined because basically, the recommendation when you lose power is do not open your refrigerator. And especially because it'll stay colder for longer.
Yeah.
But under the assumption that you're going to have power within 6 hours, that's fine. Everything will keep in the refrigerator 4 to 6 hours, basically. But when it went beyond that, when we got to 8 hours, I was like, okay, so everything in the fridge is ruined, but I'm still not going to open because I think it will help keep the freezer sealed better because ours is inside our refrigerator, our like small freezer. So I've left that closed. Simon's losing his mind because he's like, he's like, we got to get in there. And I'm like, no, we're just going to like open it in a couple of days and have a whole bunch of rotten food to throw away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're laughing because, we've got candles, we've got torches, we've got a traditional kettle that we put on our gas stove. So there are things that we've kept, but because France has made this massive push toward green energy, trying to get to our carbon zero, carbon neutral or carbon zero, there's a massive push to not have log burners, to not have things that burn. Basically, gas and stuff is considered so dirty as an energy source. So everything we've got is electric now. Like our heating's electric. Most of our appliances, obviously, electric. Everybody's using computers, phones, whatever. And so I was sitting there last night, and I'm like, we should have got a generator before this. Like, we should have known and had a generator and been able to at least plug in the fridge, with a Jenny. And Amy had said that that's what they have because for her company, she's got, her friend come and her prep kitchen and everything is in a place at her parents' house where they lose power all the time too. Like Vongsan, where I live, and Festelum, where her thing is they lose power often and don't get it back on. They're whirling like bad spots. And so they've got generators, and I was like, oh man. But Simon's like, no, we're gonna get solar panels this year, it'll be fine. He's like, we won't have to worry about anything once we have solar panels. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's true. Like, that'll be helpful. But at the same time, I'm like, just having a backup.
Yeah.
For your backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But it's cold in the house already.
God, and do you know what? Just not even having your normal consumables for a couple of days, what a difference it does make to your property, and it just feels very different. And so if if you are also alone, because I mean, obviously Carter, the moment the internet went, and Carter was like, oh my God, literally freaked out for like 20 seconds because there was no internet and he had no phone battery.
Yeah.
But it made me think about people that are actually on their own. I know a couple of people that now, not by choice, but they do live by themselves. And I was like, so, having to message them and see if they're okay. And then I twigged on, actually, they don't have internet. So, pop round to physically check on them, because you just never know, do you?
Yeah. Well, and like even the signal's been distorted for us for mobile phones. So we've got 5G normally, and then all of a sudden for like an hour we'll have 3G.
Yeah.
Because the weather is obviously affecting these towers, or there's such heavy usage on them.
Yeah.
That they're having to throttle what they would normally do.
Yeah.
Because no one's using Wi-Fi, they're all using their data plans and stuff.
Yeah, it is shocking the effects the weather just has on everyday life. And like as we're speaking, it's just started to rain again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm on the roof to farts. So
yeah. Well, and that's it. It's like we were saying earlier. Simon is adamant he does not remember a single time in his life where he didn't have electricity for an extended period of time, like growing up or anything. And where his mom's house is, it's like on the next ridge opposite the Pennines.
Right.
So they get like ridiculous rain and wind. 60-kilometer-an-hour winds is like consistent every day there. Oh, every Lord. It is always cold and windy at his mom's house. They never have a power outage. We, as soon as it blows over, 20 kilometers now, we get like fire lights and stuff. And, there's a lot of trees that are too close to lines and things like that. But it is amazing because I was like, oh, well, we would regularly have no power as a kid for a week, and we had to like prep. I was saying we grew up on a well, so we had no electricity, we had no water. So we'd have to, before a storm, fill a bathtub and get buckets and prepare to have water for cooking, have water for washing, have water for flushing toilets. And you always made, you always had gas. You always made sure, because we had like one of those big tanks in the garden. I think you have one as well.
Yeah.
That we'd make sure that we got our gas delivery before big storms and stuff. And it's like, it was pretty common that...
Yeah, it just feels so weird, doesn't it, to think like that's an everyday life. But reality is, can happen at any minute, can't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like it's good for us. Like Simon, who's a country boy, and he's like really anti-technology a lot of the time. He's like, I don't have my phone, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. He's the one that's like, oh, do we have internet? Do we, can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, this is amazing to me that all of a sudden you can't have it and you actually want it.
Yeah.
I think it's good, reading books. And I was playing my guitar the other night, and he was just chilling, and then I stopped and he made a joke like, oh, thank God for that. And then he was like, he's like, this is actually way better than just sitting here watching TV.
And actually, do you not think the whole chatting, interaction, less convenience makes people so much healthier? It takes me back to my childhood. And sitting around a table at night, having a chat with your family, rather than like your kid being in their bedroom, you're in there, somebody else is in the living room, and you're spread out. There is no chat, and the whole "how's your day" kind of conversation seems to have gone out the window.
Yeah, I mean, we do always sit at the table for meals, but on dinner especially, we'll sit at the table. Usually, if the TV's on still, but lately we've been having candlelit breakfast. While eating on scrambled eggs across from each other, listening to the sounds of each other eat. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. And my family always, like my dad, when he comes to visit, he finds it odd that we sit at the table to eat. Right, we don't sit on the couch or what. Yeah, like, you know, and a lot of my friends when I go back to visit, like, yeah, you even have like tray tables. Do you guys have those? No, I sit in for a TV.
Like the young people, TV. I think they used to call them TV dinners. Like,
Yeah,
but
they're like regular like a lovely cooked meal, and on a plate, we're just using these like tray. You sit with this table that's a foldy table.
yeah. But when I was growing up, and like a few of my friends' parents did that, but it was considered actually like a really low class thing for people to do, and they're like, not. Oh, I don't know what the term is, but like, yeah, it was not. Yeah, it wasn't the proper thing to do. And when you saw people doing it, you're like, ooh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like the death of the dining room, the death of the dining table and stuff like that. And so now that everybody's got open plan kitchens, you can watch TV while you sit and eat at your kitchen island or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think
in France, it's so important that, you know, all the family are together, you know, the children are not on their phones. I think that's beautiful. And a lot more countries like the UK should take that on board, because the whole experience of seeing your loved one after a day's work, or they've been away on holiday and they got, you know, that conversation, the art of conversation is, I feel, slowly passing, and it's quite sad because you're a conversationalist, I'm a conversationalist.
we like a bit of chat.
We like a bit of a chit chat. But I feel like that's becoming a thing of the past, and that makes me quite sad, really.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think, yeah, that interaction, you know, and even when you are with a group of people who are a certain age and everybody's got their phone, at a certain point, everyone stops, the conversation lulls, everyone pulls their phone out. Yeah. Everyone's doing something on their phone for a while.
Yeah.
And then it comes back into conversation.
Yeah.
And that was something like in college when we all got mobile phones, we were like, yeah, we're having conversations with 3 people at the same time. People in the room and then 3 other people on your mobile phone. And in a way it's good because obviously you're being in touch with a lot more people than you might have been when you were isolated without having a mobile phone. But in a lot of ways, yeah, it's killing.
Yeah, and it's killing all the notifications. Like, I took Carter and his friend out 2 days ago. We went up to Angoulême, and the phones are literally like bing, 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 bing. I was like, what? You can't be talking to people. This is not a conversation. This is like a game notification or like a TikTok notification. I was like,
Turn those off.
yeah, like you are literally overstimulated, and it's making you so addicted to that mobile phone. You are carrying it around in your pocket. You can't be without it. And like when I first moved here, I half the time wouldn't even be able to tell you, to be fair, where my mobile was. But now it is on me a lot more, which actually I don't really like.
Yeah, it's weird because I was out on last Friday night, maybe. Jazz and Amy were playing in.
Oh yes,
in
yeah,
Maroy. I tried to get you come.
yeah.
And I met a woman. She and her husband have just moved here in May, and she said, in the UK, I never had my phone on me at all. She was like, I was a hairdresser, so like I didn't even do online bookings or anything, so I had everything was all in paper and what have you. And she goes, and now that I live here, the number of things you have to do on your phone or on the internet really amazed her, because I was like, yeah, it is weird because people think you're going back in time when you come here, and everything's so rural and blah, blah, blah. But in a lot of ways, that makes people more dependent on their devices.
Especially like when I'm in a situation and say I'm going somewhere to buy something, can I use my translator first, which in England obviously you'd never have to do. Never. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me find out what that word is. So it's definitely more on me than ever before, and I'm just like, I begrudge it a little bit, but to be honest, I can't be without it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It affects every single thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, then the other thing I saw, I mean, related to the storm and everything, was the like local. There's a local radio station, or it's not. It's a national radio station, but they obviously have local channel. Liberté FM.
I've heard of it. My mother tuned in.
And it's not the only thing I've seen. So a lot of the communes, Facebook pages and stuff are putting information out and asking people basically, to share. Like if there's damages, if you come to a road that's flooded, don't approach, but take photos.
Yeah.
Tell people where it is. Like build. It's that whole like
Community spirit.
it is look after each other. Like we have solidarity in this. It's like one of those things. Solidarity in these situations is one of those things that France was really good at doing. Is like we're all able to do that together.
The war does learn that whole camaraderie, and come on, we haven't got much, but let's look after each other. And it is really, like I said, really important to check on your neighbours, especially the vulnerable, like the elderly.
Yeah.
Just check that they can get to the shops to maybe buy some food if their fridge or their freezer, like yours, has gone. Can they drive? I know a lot of people now that have moved out here and had very active lives, and then sadly one of their partners has passed away, and they chose not to drive anymore, which I totally understand. But again, they're now limited to relying on another neighbour that might be going food shopping once a week to be able to get a lift, to the shops and things like that. I would take for granted because I can just jump in a car and go. But I'm like, actually, I need to consider her up the road. Does she have milk? Does she need bread? Does she have any eggs? She hasn't got internet at this minute, so let's go and physically check on her. Those are the little humanitarian things, and just make such a difference to actually somebody surviving a storm and being okay, or somebody possibly not.
Yeah. Well, and they have those, they also do the recommendations when they do the vigilance, like storm coming warnings, the orange alerts. Yeah, orange alerts. They are now saying, if you are in a suspected area that's going to get hit, make sure you have a disaster kit with fresh water, tins of food, candles, flashlights, all those things, batteries. And it is funny to me, first aid kit. It is funny to me in a way because of where I grew up. Like it was just a normal thing, completely normal thing. We had earthquake risk and tsunami risk. We had to bring them to school. Beginning of the year, you had to bring your non-perishables in a bag.
Wow!
A big Ziploc bag full of, with your name on everything. This is Vanessa's in case she's trapped in the school for a week or whatever.
Like, I never lived like that in England, so it never would have crossed my.
No, you guys you had such a carefree existence. You're like, now I'm like, no wonder everybody in California has anxiety.
Because but you'll say, it totally, And do you know what? Since recently people have passed, every morning I come outside my house now and have a coffee. It's like my religion, but I sit and wait for my dad to walk around from the Jeep. Because it's that level of is he okay? You know what I mean? Or if it gets to 9 o'clock and he's not come round, I'm round there, knocking on the door or the window. Because normally he's just decided to lock the Jeep door, but leave the key in the back of it. So I can't even get a key in. So I'm like, you need to stop doing that. That's ridiculous.
What if something happens?
What if?
It in there?
And I've never, ever lived with the what ifs. I never have, but now it sounds really silly. But when I go out by myself, like yesterday, I went to John Zach, and I was like, oh my God, what if I had an accident? Could they access my emergency contact list? No. So I went in and updated, home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Updated everything.
Do you have, because iPhones have an SOS on them
as
well, so they can get in to only make a phone call to the last phone call you made, something like that.
Yeah, so I was like, I need to protect cautions. I just need to be more sensible and be more wary. And then I think if you've taken precautions, then you're not so anxious, you're not so in a state of survival. But the last few weeks mentally for me have been complete survival mode. And I need to get myself out of that. But I actually think the weather feels like it has a lot to do with that, because everything's grey, wet, miserable. You constantly live on the edge of it. But once the sun seems to warm, you seem to sort of like you're frozen, and then it seems to melt you a little bit.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait, I think, for Easter. Like, I just feel like 2026, I was January the 1st, I was like loving life. Like, this is going to be the best.
Yeah.
And so far, nothing.
It's been pretty hard. It's been pretty down and dreary, hasn't it?
It's been brutal.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we'll finish this episode.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.